Hi, this is Siddharth Venkatraman, and welcome to LinkedIn Masterclass Module 4. So, what we're going to look at in this module is the connection strategy, how to grow your network. So, I think, as I have already mentioned several times before, LinkedIn is a personal branding asset or it's your reputation. And you need to grow your connections and you need to grow your network if you need to actually succeed. Okay. So, in this module, we're going to look at what are the steps you need to take to build your connections and to build your network in a meaningful way. Okay. How do we find people and connect? So the difference between one major difference between uh, LinkedIn and probably the other networks, probably like Instagram or Facebook, could be you do not need to have millions and millions of followers to be an influencer, because LinkedIn is a very important business platform, right? So you could probably be in an industry where you are an influencer, which means it's enough if the people relevant to you are following you and people relevant to you see that you are a thought leader in that specific industry. For example, let's take the case of an engineering industry. Engineering industry is such that you cannot have millions and millions of followers. So it's enough if important people and young budding engineers and all these people look up to you, as well as important decision makers of organizations, CEOs, CXOs, they all consider you as a thought leader. Then you're an influencer. You may probably have just 5K, 6K followers on LinkedIn. So that's how it is. So, but then for that, your connections and network needs to be of high quality and of high relevance. So this is what we're going to do. How do you expand your influence? So the first step is defining your target audience based on your objectives. I think in one of the previous modules, we had already discussed about how do we set your objectives on what do you want to achieve through LinkedIn. So we need to refer to that. And there we had also built a kind of target audience or the kind of audience which you need to have if you're a job seeker or if you're an entrepreneur or you're working in some organization. So using that data which you had consolidated in the activity at the end of that module, you need to put together what typically is your target audience and what are you trying to achieve. The next one you need to do is look at the connections which you have right now. And I'm going to tell you how to do that. Let me go back into my live profile. So I go to my profile and I go to settings. And when I look at data privacy, how LinkedIn uses data, I just need to click on get a copy of your data and I can say connections and request archive. So what happens is once I give my password over here, what happens once I give my password, it has been saved. So what happens in about 10 minutes time, I will get a mail in my Gmail which says the archive is ready, and then I will be able to come back over here and download. And when I download, I get something like this. I will be able to download the entire list with the name, company and position and all these kind of details. So what you need to do is you need to take that and you need to explore, or you need to look at what are the kind of connections you have. Are they relevant to you? Or it's okay, like if predominantly it's relevant and a few irrelevant, that's fine. But then you need to look at it. How have you built your connections? Is it just that randomly you've gone on expanding your network just for the sake of having X number of followers, or it's been meaningful? Or it may have happened that you have most of your connections are just your friends or your colleagues. Your connection needs to be a mix. Okay. So the third step is exactly this, which is comparing what you have defined as your target audience based on objectives and this Excel sheet which we have downloaded. Try to compare and see what's the kind of audience you have. The fourth one is do not add irrelevant connections just for the sake of expanding your follower count or your connection count. It's of no use. You may have 1 lakh followers, but then the problem is if they're not going to be useful to you, then what's the point, right? It's like doing random sales calls to irrelevant people. who are not even going to buy a product at any point of time. It's the same thing. Okay. So the next one is do not add irrelevant connections. And here I would like to tell you there are two things, connections and followers. You can have any number of followers. Followers are people who follow you. Connections is a two-way thing where you are connected to them and they are connected to you. There's a limit of about 30K at the point when I'm recording this video. There is a connection limit of 30K. So you need to choose wisely your connections. And so you may ask, how do I go more than 30K? How can I have more followers? That's something which I will tell you subsequently. Okay. The next one is use search meaningfully to find your relevant network. Okay, I'm going to show you how. So the next step is use search to find your relevant network. So let me go back to my profile, and here I put a search query saying digital marketer. So I want to search people who are digital marketers, and then I can add some more parameters saying, okay, I don't want to see connections who are already connected to me. I want to see second and third level connections, which is second are people who are connected to my connections. Okay. So that because they are new network which I'm trying to build. So I select that. And then what is the next one I do is once this comes up, location. So I may choose only India. So for an example, I'm saying that I'm targeting only people, my relevant, I operate only in India, for example. So I will choose only India. And then the next one is I can choose this filter saying current organization. So especially if you're targeting people in specific organizations, okay, then you can use this filter to select the list of companies where you want to do. So once you do this, you get a very fine list of people whom you would want to connect with. Okay, so these are all people, digital marketers in India, with whom I may want to connect with. The next thing which I do is I get into their profile to just see how they are and what they have been doing. Okay, so that will give me an idea. So if I go to their profile, I see that this is a pretty new profile. I can see because it's just 92 followers. But if I see also the activity, and if I go and see what has been the recent activity, I can see that this person has not done any post at all or added any content at all. And even if I go to the activity section, I can see that there's not much of activity done. So which means this person is probably not even active on LinkedIn. So I don't want to add this person. So this is an example. So I can search for chief marketing officers, go into their profile, check if they're an active profile. And if they are active, and then I find relevant. And then, as I said, I would go through all their different sections on their profile, like how we had done the LinkedIn profile optimization. I would read their summary, I would see their activities, I would see their work experience, and then I will decide, okay, I want to add this person into my network. Okay, so this is how you need to use search to find the people to whom you want to connect with. Then you need to this is what I said. The sixth point is that connect with your audience. Okay, so there are two things: the physical act of connection where you send a connect request, and the other one is about content where you are keeping them engaged, which we will look at in the content module. So the next one important thing to keep in mind is that if you're trying to become an influencer, you need to have a right mix of people whom you look up to and also people who follow you, in the sense people who look up to you. So for example, I'm a digital marketer and I'm a marketer. So I'm connected to people who probably are marketing leaders, businessmen, entrepreneurs, and all these people who are all my potential audience and potential customers or potential partners. And at the same time, I have a lot of following from young digital marketers, young sales guys, people who are coming up in their profession, okay, who are looking up, who are reading my content to understand more in terms of career building. How do they build careers? How do they do marketing and all these kind of things? So these are people who consume my content with the intent of learning something. And there are people whom I look up to and people with whom I can potentially have a business with. So you always need to have this you need to have this mix of people so that your engagement and your activity in your profile will go up. The next one is LinkedIn group. So LinkedIn groups is actually an excellent source because you can find like-minded people over there. It's a place where people with common interests, network. They have peer knowledge, they share knowledge, and there's a lot of information exchange. So let me go onto my profile and let me search for healthcare, and let's see if we are able to get a what are the groups which are available in the healthcare domain. Groups. So this is a pharma group with 425K members. So request to join. So some groups, it's like you can automatically just click on the join button and join, while some are moderated, which means there'll be an administrator who verifies your profile before admitting you. So, but the good thing is you will find a lot of people from your target audience in these groups, and that way, if especially it's easier to find out there if they're active or not, because if they're contributing to some post or they have started a discussion or they're contributing towards some discussion, you very well know that this person is active. And it's a good place because they are serious people who are active on LinkedIn, and it's a very, very good network to build. So groups are a very, very excellent source to find your right target audience. And even in the content module, we look at it. Groups are an important place where you can start sharing your knowledge to position yourself as a thought leader, or you can contribute to discussions started by someone else, which could actually probably sometimes result in leads as well. Okay, so that we will come up during the content module, but this is a very important thing. The next one is tap into your influencers network. So there are always several influencers in every industry. So what you can do is you can find influencers or industry leaders in your domain, and you can look at their followers. So a lot of them would be relevant to you. Okay. So for example, if I let me take Kiran Mazumdar Shah. So she's a important influencer. So if I can go and check out her followers, or if I can go and see all the activity she does, the content she generates, and people who are engaging with that content, you can see that a lot of them would be relevant to. So suppose you're from pharma or you're from the healthcare industry, you will see a lot of them relevant to you. So likewise, there, if I can go and get onto some digital marketer or a marketing guru or a business uh, influencer, I may get a lot of people who are relevant, who could potentially be my clients or could potentially be my audience. Okay, so when I go here and when I look at Kiran Mujumdar's posts, so she's there are quite a few people who have interacted with it. There are people who have commented. So if we can go check out, at times a lot of them would be relevant to you if she's an influencer in your domain. Okay, so this is also another important way to find out relevant people in your domain and build your network. So the next thing about uh, connection strategy is about the way you do it. Okay, as they say, there's always a method to madness. Okay, so it's not about just finding these people and then just sending them a connection request and connecting. No. Okay, so we have to do it in a systematic way so that connecting with them has a meaning. So ideally, what you need to do is this. Okay, so as we said, we defined the target audience, and then we tried to search for our specific type of audience on LinkedIn using the search. Next, you found few people and you want to connect with them. So before, as I already told you, you first visit their profile and see how they have been, or are they active, they're not active. And if they are not really active, then there's no point in connecting with them. But if they are active ones, what you should do is you should follow them for some time and observe what kind of content they are creating, or what kind of posts are they liking and commenting on. Okay, this will give you an idea about whether they are how relevant they are to you, and at the same time will give you a better understanding. The other thing is participate in the content they are generating. So these people, when they make a post or they share something through their handles, go read through it and leave your comments, your thoughts, not just blindly saying that, hey, beautiful article or beautiful post, not like that, but with some meaningful value onto it. Okay, engage with the person's content. Okay, so that that person starts noticing you, and then engage with them also in groups. Okay, if they're part of some groups, try to engage with them in discussions in the groups. Okay, then you can send them an invite. And if you have done all these things before you send the invite, the probability of them accepting your connection request is very high. And not only that, by the time you send the invite, it's kind of you're already there in their mind space, and they already kind of know, okay, this person is from such and such an organization and such a background, right? So that's, it makes it very very impactful. So even before you connect, you started networking with the person, okay? And post that, there's a separate module where we discuss how we will go about doing it in a systematic way. So the next one is about some more ground rules. uh, when people send you inbound requests, so one is about you sending out requests, the other is people sending you requests. When something like that happens, try to accept most of the requests, don't let people hang, okay? Two, once you've accepted the request, send them a beautiful thank you note for sending you a connection request. This way they feel good, okay? And you also have kind of, you build respect for yourself. And never pitch, okay? The biggest mistake, either with people whom you connect or with people who have connected with you, never start pitching or try to make a sales call as soon as they've sent you a connection request and you've accepted. It puts people off, okay? There are so many sales pitches which come to me on an everyday basis, but I don't even read most of them because it's uh, it puts you off, right? Rather than trying to build a rapport. It's the same case in a real world as well, right? You don't just knock on somebody's door and start selling your products. The other thing is you can send up to 100 connections in a day. Okay, you can even keep it slightly lower, but you need to keep this as a habit. It's not like once in a while thing. On a regular basis, there are millions and millions of people on LinkedIn. Okay, on a regular basis, on an everyday basis, you have to set aside some time and find people and connect with them on a regular everyday basis. You need to keep adding on to your network, okay? Only that way you build your network. The next one is, do not send the default connection message, okay? I'll show you. Once I go to my profile, and if I want to connect with someone, okay, so imagine I want to connect with this person, and if I say connect, there'll be an add a note. If I don't put add a note, and if I just send, it would just go saying that I would like to add you to my network. But instead, add a note. I would say, hi, Mr. Strati, and I would write a personal note, and I will show you how that could be done. Okay. So typically what I do is this. So if these are some few examples, so I had actually read about this person. So here, the first one, the first example, I had read about this person, and she's an author, and she's a thought leader, and she's a organization development specialist. So I had read some of her posts. So I said that, wow, you do a lot of good work. So I would like to connect with you and have some meaningful discussions. And I had read her book. Okay, so what happened was, instantly she accepted, and she also wrote back a thank you to me, and which means you started networking. And after this, we've had several exchanges. I've read a book, and then I've shared my inputs on that and stuff like that. Okay, so likewise, the second person, she is a marketing leader. So I had read an article in one of the newspapers where she had spoken about what she does, or during the COVID times, what they had done differently in their organization. So when I connected with her, I specifically mentioned to her that I had read the article, and it's like good stuff which they're doing. So again, it's a good way to connect with people. And sometimes when I connect with people who are younger than me, okay, or people who could probably find value in the content I am generating, I write specific notes. Like, for example, uh, I was at one point of time for my book on careers, I was trying to collect data. Okay, so I used to write to people saying, "Hey, I'm going to write a book, and I'm trying to get inputs from youngsters. So in that way, I would like to connect with you." And a lot of them will connect back and write back. Okay, so this way you start building a rapport right from the word go. Okay, instead of just, because when you just send a default message of I would like to connect with you, it doesn't really look good. It's not personalized, and people keep getting a lot of inbound requests like that. And believe me, serious users really sometimes ignore these kind of default messages because they believe that, okay, this person is just sending me, who's he or who's she. Okay, so you need to set a context before you connect with people. So, you know what happens when you do this? These are all just a small sample of the leads and opportunities which I almost get on an everyday basis. Okay, all kinds. So if you look at it, I got, I wasn't even searching for a job, but I've got job requests. Okay, I've got job opportunities. Okay, through LinkedIn, and then there are business deals in the sense there were so many assignments and consulting assignments and deals which I've got through it. Okay, where people write to me saying, hey, I need some help in this, and then we strike a conversation, I give them some consulting, and then it lands up in a bigger project. Okay, and there are people who've written to me saying that they would like to collaborate with me on some uh, article or on a book or something like that. And there have been so many speaking opportunities and so many guest column requests which I've got. Okay, and I'm telling you, I'm not telling all these things to boast about myself, but it is not rocket science. It is just the systematic way of doing it. Okay, the discipline that on an everyday basis I would spend some time and build my network, and I would spend time in researching about the people with whom I want to build my network. Okay, and I will do customized messaging to people and won't do mass blastings and sending out huge number of invitations without an objective. Okay, so in this way, if step by step, if you're able to build, okay, for sure it will work wonders. And I've seen enough people seeing results. Okay, so you need to have that confidence, right? So now we are coming to the end of this module, and as usual, I'm going to give you an activity. Okay, identify first, go revisit the module where you had defined your objectives and your target audience. So based on that, I want you to identify 10 people with whom you want to send a connection request. 10 people, and to each one of them I want you to draft a customized message with which you need to send them the connection request. So this is the activity for this module, and I'm starting with 10, but you need to start expanding that base, and on an everyday basis spend some time in building your network. Okay, so take care and see you on the other side.